Virginia Woolf, the writer of our today's essay, that is Women and Virginia Woolf. Her name was her original name was Adeline. Please write it down, because at the end of our today's first session I will be asking the name, original name of Virginia Woolf is Adeline Virginia Stephen, and he was born in 25th January 1882 in London, England. London is the capital of England, and there he was specifically no. Where you have been? Okay, come quickly. Next time anybody will not be allowed to come to the class. Okay, do quick, don't make sound with your pons and sandals, please. You can make sound with your shoes, but you can't make sound with your pons and sandals. Yeah? Okay, so her original name Adeline Virginia Stephen, and she was born in London, the capital of England. Yeah, fantastic. And actually, at the very starting point, we have seen that is, and again, she was died in March 28, 19. Actually, she was not died. She committed suicide in a very pathetic way. Why she committed suicide, we will be knowing at the later part of today's session. His father was Leslie Stephen, a scholar, and at the time the first editor of the dictionary, National Dictionary of Biography. That means our writer Virginia Woolf was from a scholar's family, because her father was a scholar and her mother was Julia Jackson. Julia Jackson actually was a very beautiful lady and delicate in manner, and from her family's side we got acquaintance that Julia Jackson was the granddaughter of a writer as well. Okay, so in family, Virginia Woolf's father and Virginia Woolf's mother were scholars, as well as they had the heritage of literary family, we can say. Okay, so but Julia Jackson's first husband, Julia Jackson, who is she? Julia Jackson had another marriage earlier, and same thing happened to Virginia Woolf's father, that is next time anybody will not be allowed after my entering to the class. Note it, okay? And Virginia Woolf's father did the same thing. His name is Leslie. Okay, Leslie also married another woman earlier. Okay, and fantastically enough, Leslie had a daughter from his previous marriage, and Julia Jackson, that means Virginia Woolf's mother, has 3 sons from her previous. Whenever Julia Jackson and Leslie Stephen married, that was in 1870, and this new couple got 4 children. They are Vanessa, Toby, Virginia. Third one is our writer. Vanessa has a very artistic notion. Vanessa, from the very age, at the age of 9, she had shown her merit in writing. And why did she write? Actually, Virginia Woolf was born opposite to Hyde Park Gate. Their address was there. Hyde Park is a central park in London, just like the Ramna Park of Bangladesh. Yeah. So before there was their residence, that is their home. And at the time, Virginia Woolf's father had been maintaining a newspaper, that means Hyde Park Gate News. At the age of 9, Virginia Woolf started writing something like some opinion or something else. Okay. And Vanessa, her elder sister, also sought the merit of painting. So Vanessa went into the world of painting, and Virginia went into the art of writing. So these two sisters, they were in two different fields. They showed their merit. Virginia Woolf in writing and Vanessa in. But Virginia Woolf actually committed suicide in 1941. Why? Because she went through several depression, mental pressure. For the cause of mental pressure, if anybody is kept himself or herself out of the others man contact or communication, and she or he will be feeling that, yeah, it's very tough for me, and for this reason he or she will be feeling deeply depressed. Our writer Virginia Woolf has several reasons to be depressed. First reason is that at the age of 13, Virginia Woolf lost her mother. That was in 1895. So that was the first breakdown in Virginia Woolf's life. That means in a family, they had how many siblings? They had but previous 4. Total 8 siblings, though the previous siblings are from their stepmother or stepbrother, stepmother or stepfather, but that doesn't mean any sense to them. The 8 children, and Julia Jackson and Lizzie had been living together in a family, and their bond was totally very friendly and very good, actually, I would say. Okay. So in that family, that was a very long extended family at the time, because 8 children are there, 4 from the previous father's and mother's side, and 4 of the family from Julia and Leslie. Julia Jackson. Yes. And the first breakthrough, or I would say not breakthrough, that is the cause of heartbreaking happens for Virginia Woolf, for the cause of the death of her mother in 1895. And at the time, Julia Jackson was 49. And again, she was in a depressed mood at the time, in just after 2 years later. Her half-sister, Stella, died at the age of 28. As I have said, naturally, in a unique family, we love ours, but in a long extended family, every member loves the other members of the family, even the cousins also. Okay. So for the death of Stella, that was another problem to Virginia Woolf's life. Just after 2 years. And again, in 1904, her father died. So 95, 1895, her mother died. 97, her half-sister died. And just after 7 or 8 years later, her father died. So in such a situation, actually, Virginia Woolf had several responsibility in their family. Losing the core member of their family, including their half-sister, they were shocked. And that got the nervous breakdown to Virginia Woolf. And she got nervous breakdown. Nervous breakdown, that means suppose any time she might get fainted, and she will be not communicating with anybody else. Sometimes she forgets to eat. Sometimes she forgets to talk. Okay, that is called the nervous breakdown. That means the psychological disorder happened to Virginia. At the time, in 1904, just at the ending part, Virginia Woolf's family invited a man. His name is Leonard Woolf. And Leonard Woolf was doing a job. Actually, he was assigned to go somewhere else to do service, especially the colonial administration. You know, at the time, Britain had colony all over the world. So Leonard Woolf had to go to other countries to serve as the colonial administration. Okay, and that means Leonardo Woolf was supposed to go to Sri Lanka. At that time, its name was Ceylon. Okay, Ceylon. Okay. And this man was invited in a party, that means in a dinner party, and they got acquaintance. So that means Virginia Woolf and Leonardo Woolf. At the time, Virginia Woolf not was Woolf, that was Adeline. Okay, Stephen. Adeline Virginia Stephen, because they took their father's name as the first name. And in 1906, another incident happened. Toby, who is Toby? Toby is their second brother. That means immediate elder brother of Virginia Woolf. In 1906, her immediate elder brother died for the cause of typhoid. And let me know you that at that time, in case of winter-prone country, many people would die for the cause of typhoid, pneumonia, such like the disease. Okay, so just after 2 years, our writer's immediate elder brother Toby, TH will be pronouncing not Thaw, it will be Taw. Toby. Also, Toby is a character of Harry Potter's. Yeah? J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter's Toby as a special character. So Toby died for the cause of typhoid fever. And in the summer of 1911, Leonard Woolf returned home from the East. That means he went to Sri Lanka, and there he was supposed to be the colonial administrator, and he finished his job and returned back to England, and they got married. That means our writer Virginia was married to Leonardo Woolf at 1912. They married in 1912. This is their history, and at the time, actually, this writer, next time, through the upbringing in an extended family, through the problems and suffering she faced in her own life, especially at the time, but our writer showed interest to write on a different subject. what are the subject actually he took, that is the artistic theory, what should be written, and he wrote several essays on politics. And a special thing is that Virginia Woolf wrote many things relating to women's writing and also the writing attributed to women. Attributed to women, the writing about women. And our writer has been the writer of famous novels, like especially the three famous novels. He is famous for Mrs. Dalloway, 1925, To the Lighthouse, 1927, The Voice Out, 1915, Jacob's Room, 1922, Orlando, it's a biography, 1928, and the Webs. And the first Webs, 1931. First two novels and the third novel for these two novels, for these three novels. Our writer, Virginia Woolf, has become a famous modernist essayist and novel writer and famous critic as well. Okay, especially for these three novels, that is Mrs. Dalloway, To the Lighthouse, and the Webs. So, and what we will do, we will read her Women and Fiction. This is included is a collection of essays, that is the famous essays that he wrote, A Room of One's Own. And his writing about women writing, and also the writing based on the women, and actually in our society something are very common. Something is very common, that means most of the society at the time when Virginia Woolf was born and grew up, at the time basically that was all over the Europe as well, that was the patriarchal, that means male dominated society. And for this reason that also happening in the other parts of this world. But Virginia Woolf observed that not only the domination, what was the chief activities of the women at the time, that means they will be giving birth to so many children, they will be giving they will be doing the household activities, they didn't have the money of their own because they didn't have education, and also they didn't have any job as well. And for this reason they were suppressed by the male domination of that patriarchal society at the time. And it was not possible to write in favor of women because males are the master of family, society, country, everywhere. He said, in soldiers, male will be the soldiers, king will be the male, kings all over the world will be the male. And Virginia Woolf also noticed that also the writers, they are also male. Who is responsible for this? Society's attitude and also the male dominated society. Your duty, that means women's duty was that was assigned, that you will be giving birth, women will be giving birth, several children, 10 to 12 children they will be giving birth, and they will be maintaining the family. That's all. And no education or everything. And for this reason, whenever a male, suppose you haven't gone to a railway station, suppose you haven't gone to a sea journey, okay? Just if you want to write about sea journey, if you want to write about the train journey, what I have said that you haven't gone to rail station, you haven't gone to ocean or river for the sea journey. So what you have to do, you have to improvise, you have to imagine what should be the train, what should be the main writer. They had been writing about the female's emotion. They had been writing about the female's liking and disliking. That was not, that is called, according to literary speech, that is called improvisation. Improvisation, that means I will be writing someone's spirit, someone's feeling. Virginia Woolf got the point. Virginia Woolf took that instant, that he started to write in favor of women, being a woman. Virginia Woolf started to write about women and started to write about the women's taboos at that time. That is, women's notion, feelings, liking, disliking cannot be expressed elaborately through the broad daylight. That was a taboo of the society. সমাজের এটা একটা বাধা ছিল যে আপনি মেয়েদের লাইকিং ডিসলাইকিং থাকতে পারবেন না, এটা নিয়ে আপনি লিখতে পারবেন। Virginia Woolf went towards the opposite side. She took pen and started writing for the women writers, and also for this writing there was the subjects will also be the women. And for this reason, towards the first half of the 20th century, there was a movement that is called suffragette movement. Suffragette movement, before the suffragette movement, even the women of Europe didn't have the voting right. Abraham Lincoln was the initiator of democracy. He said the democracy is for the people of the people. But you see, by the people. But you see, in that country, Abraham Lincoln, the women didn't have the voting right before the suffragette movement. And then female writers started to come. Jane Austen, Virginia Woolf, and some other women writers came in existence, and this started writing several women. And for this reason, Virginia Woolf is a famous modernist writer, and especially she deals with the women in her novels and short stories, and especially essays that are facts. That is, in short, the biography of our famous writer, Virginia Woolf. And one thing I left, that is, I said that for the cause of the continuous depression of her life, Virginia Woolf in 1941 in Sussex. Sussex is another part of England, okay, and they moved their address in several places. Would you please switch off the fan, please? I am getting cold. At the time, those as well. Virginia Woolf went for successive mental depression, and for this reason she suffered much. And for the death of several dear and near ones of her family, finally she wrote many things, and at the ending part of her life, it was in 1941, she wrote a note, actually suicide note, one for her husband, Leonard Woolf, okay, and she wrote that all the happiness in my life I owe to you, and I think I will not disturb you. And also another note, she wrote it for her sister or younger brother, and put several stones in her pocket of the jacket, okay, and jumped into the river Sussex and got drowned. That was a very pathetic ending of our writer Virginia Woolf. But what she gave to literature, especially the women literature, especially the feminism, you know, that means feminism is about women. Feminism demands for the equal rights of the women. feminism even demands, that means if men and women, there is no difference. If you will have merit, of course you will get the upper hand. So Virginia Woolf died very pathetically in her life for the cause of expressive depression in her personal life, but what she gave in English literature, especially for the writing of feminism, for the women writings, for the women and fiction, she will be remembered, and she is one of the famous modernist writers, modern fiction writer, and modernist writer on feminism, and she will be remembered thereafter for a long time.